Alright. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of MC Anime. I'm MC Anime here. We have fellow co-host.
Hey everyone, it's Leah again.
Leia's back. Going she's free as the wind as we call it.
No one has ever said that.
Well, you said it
Nothing.
now.
Today was the first day that that was said, but I will take it.
That introduced the topic we're doing. We're talking about the element of wind. So when you think of wind, what do you think of? Because it doesn't necessarily it's more like a peaceful element to me.
I don't know because I grew up and I watched like Twister when I was younger, and
Hmm.
there was like those shows like Tornado Chasers and all of that, or Storm Chasers. So
Yeah.
I remember as a kid having that like duality of watching like
Mm.
Studio Ghibli films, and like the wind always had like pretty leaves flowing through them and always had sweet moments accompanied to them, and then watching like American
Mm.
movies and shows where they were just watching hurricanes tear up like the Midlands. And so yeah, I always see wind as being something that can be very easygoing and soft and simple, or it can be something that's super dangerous. And that could it's unsuspecting, I would
Oh
say.
yeah. And, and the same thing with the United States. We have Tornado Alley, which is the most active place in the world for tornadoes. So it goes to show you that, if you have a flat area where the conditions for tornadoes and wind to be so strong, then yeah, wind can be very terrifying, but also peaceful because, you're in that hot summer day and you get that nice breeze going through. You just say, oh, it feels so nice. You're not as hot, but I don't know, you just have a good feeling.
Which is always a good thing. Yeah. I mean, I don't know many people who associate wind or air with a
Uh,
um with something bad to it. I mean,
yeah.
maybe at most if you like watched the movie The Mist when you were younger and the wind started blowing the mist towards people, you were like, bad mist, bad. But outside of that, it's like la la la, breezy day, la la la. So I love wind element users. I
Yeah.
think they always look really cool.
Yeah.
I think their effects for their techniques and their and whatever action they're doing, it's always kind of impressive to see how it impacts everybody else.
But
Oh,
smog and overpopulated cities is basically really bad too. So just keep in mind. Not all wind is smog, but also not all cities have smog either. But this is the 20th episode, and
yes.
which characters do that you bought, and I will talk about the characters I bought. Which,
So for us, I know me and you both shared Yuno as a
mhm,
suggestion, and then I
yeah,
also brought up Inuyasha's Kaguya because you see her literally in the very first rendition of Inuyasha in the very first volume of the manga. And she's
yeah,
the kind of like the first demon that they encounter, besides, of course, Naraku. So,
yeah.
yeah,
But
those are my two.
Kaguya also works with Miraku too, so just
Well,
keep that in
yeah.
mind. But she's consistent in all the battling and all that stuff too. And then those are the two you bought. The two that I bought, I think, were kind of interesting. Was not we did Aquila Yuna Yuno, which is Seiya Omega, and then Jin from Yu Hakusho. So I think we have a good list to talk about.
A pretty good
And
lineup. Yeah.
And for the first one, let's talk about Yuno for a second, since we both synonymously picked him.
So, like mentioned, he is in the anime Black Clover, and we've talked about kind of Black Clover beforehand. It is essentially a show where you have Asta, who lives in he's an orphan who lives in a world where everyone has magical abilities, some type of elemental magic, and they
Yep.
use grimoires to cast almost like spells to utilize their magical skills, but he has no magic and he has to find a way to essentially become, what was it, the magic king of the land while
Yeah,
not
he wants
having
to become the
abilities.
wizard. Yeah, he wants to become the Wizard King.
Yeah, the
And
wizard king.
he's also in rivals at a young age with Yuno.
Yes.
Yuno and Asta are from the same orphanage.
So
So
take it's literally just magical Naruto, guys. It is. It's there's some
what do you mean
similar
magical
characters.
Naruto?
Are you
Oh
serious?
my god.
Loud underdog protagonist who gets aggravated when people doubt him and treat other people badly. Red, like raven-haired rival, and then best friend who always like helps him become stronger. Female love
Fine,
interest with some
fine,
colored
blonde
hair.
hair, fine, fine, fine.
Yes, yes, yes. So, but regardless, it is a great show, and is actually one of the. Honestly, I will say for Black Clover, when you first started off watching it, you feel like is like this stuck up, like bratty little
Yeah.
kid. But
Yep.
as the series goes on, one, he takes a couple of L's. He loses some fights. It's really embarrassing for him. But he grows with his magical ability, and he
Yep.
actually he becomes a very impressive and kind of like complex character.
Yeah.
So I enjoy him in the show, and his ability is wind manipulation
Yeah.
for his magical
This is gonna
power.
be my last mention of Asta because we're just gonna focus on Yuno. But the interesting dilemma that Yuno perceives to Asta is Yuno has a 4-star grimoire, while Asta has a 5-star, but that doesn't without any magical ability. And he's a prodigy in magic because he has that 4-star. So he's
Right.
gifted in magic, while his rival is not gifted in magic and has a grimoire to reflect not having magic. It's a really interesting perspective. One has power, one doesn't have power, so one has to gain power from other means. But that's enough of Asta. What we okay? So talking about the wind manipulation with Yuno, he
Mm-hmm.
really has a really. Actually, I really I don't know. I don't know if we should talk about particular wind power that he has, or just talk about wind in general, because I feel like we expose too much about actually is he then might spoil some things. So it's up to you.
I mean, we can still talk about his ability to win because he has other forms of
Yeah,
magic as well.
yeah,
And also one thing to know about Black Clover characters is that as they grow in their skill
yeah.
level, it's kind of like if anybody's seen Zatch Bell, how sometimes
Hmm.
like a new
Yep.
spell page would come up and like be
Yeah.
created once they hit a new level. So that's kind of how it is in Black Clover. The stronger
Yep.
they become, the more abilities that they have. And for he with his wind magic he can essentially fly. Like, let's start there. It's literally Hogwarts. My man can fly. It's really cool. He can do things like creating gigantic tornadoes, like towering tornado.
Oh
He
yeah.
can slice through enemies with his wind force.
Uh huh.
Uh, he also can basically create shields and making multiple attacks with the wind that he has. And he creates some really cool formations. It's not
Yeah.
just wind, he also uses like mist and clouds and things of that nature. So
Yeah.
watching him fight gets cooler and cooler as you go on. So
And
yeah, I like
some of his signature attacks with like wind wise with the wind magic is Howling Tornado, Crescent Calapachi, Gale White Bow, Unnamed Trident, Tornado Fang. It really does put itself in different electricities with wind. But he also has, you know, the ability to create objects out of the wind, so the creation magic also comes into effect as well. What do you think of the creation magic, for instance, with the wind element?
What do you mean?
Well, what do you think of like the aspect to create objects within the wind power you possess?
I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand, especially with his
Yeah.
attacks and defenses, because
Hmm.
you can't just throw gusts of wind at people and that be
Yeah.
impressive. Because it's the same way when you look at people with earth magic or fire magic, how they create dragons or
Yeah.
giant guards and things of that
Yeah.
nature. Um, I think it kind of goes hand in hand. It takes like your mental fortitude and
Yeah.
creativity, and then your own magical endurance. And Yuno has both. He doesn't have everything when it first starts out, so he does get beat up sometimes. But as he's going on, I think he's proven himself to be incredibly useful because he can also use the wind creation
Yeah.
to essentially make, like travel devices for other people, shields for other people, protection for them.
Yeah.
Um, he's a pretty well-rounded character, I would say.
Well, also with that, his wind magic is actually kind of special. One of It's only this type of magic, one out of four. You want to talk about the spirit magic?
I'm gonna let you handle this one
Okay,
because I just did
so
creation.
yeah, that's fair. So the spirit magic that he possesses, well, first of all, spirit magic in this and World of Black Clover is a very rare magic. Most of the time, no, it's like you possess the spirit of that particular magic: wind, earth, fire, and water. And the people that possess this magic have almost infinite amounts of mana or magic, you could say, and they basically are on par with people of nobility. People of nobility in Black Clover have lots of mana and magic within inside them, so they're very versatile in fighting and can last long periods of fighting. So they have access to lots of powerful magic just by nobility's stature. So the spirit magic users have similar magic capabilities as nobility, but there's not a limit to who has it. It's just whoever's spirit of that particular attribute or element picks you, and you are that part of that user. And also, if you die, the spirit magic entity that chooses you chooses another person afterwards. And Yuno's is actually called Self, Saint Stage, and all that. And Self is the wind spirit that resides within him. It's kind of cool that you see like the entity of a fairy coming out representing the green nature that he has, and she's actually really funny as well. What's your opinion of Self for a minute?
I like Self. Like for one, she had a crush on Yuno, which is hilarious. Like his wind spirit being protective of him, like like a perfect waifu, just being like, who is this woman talking to my man? And I'm like, you're supposed to be keeping him alive. And I'm like, you know what? Even when spirits are on the market and they're looking for love. And so I think for her
Oh
she's
my
pretty funny
gosh!
because
Yeah,
she adds really good commentary. And I think it's also a really cool representation of his magical ability and
yeah,
elemental ability where um it's not just him doing it, it's
yeah,
that level above it where it gives it like a physical body and
yeah,
voice and like representation.
yeah.
So I love her. She's really cute. She's really funny. She pouts a lot and it gets really annoyed. She pulls on his hair. She's hilarious.
It's kind
She
of
can't
funny
stand
that
him sometimes.
she's like a sprite or a wind fairy. Well, what some
Yeah.
of the other spirits, like I think we know the fire spirit is a salamander, and then the
Hmm.
water spirit is just a big. I don't,
I
I
can't
think,
remember what the water spirit is. In
see,
my mind, I'm just like, what is it,
well,
like
in
a
the
koi
Water
fish or
Kingdom
something?
in Black Clover, you have the giant environment of water. She's just a big mass of water, and but she's in human form in the water as well. So you just call her, I don't know, a water woman. There you go. An entity that represents the spirit of water, and yeah, let's keep it like that. But I really like how does not only does he have like only one of four users have spirit magic, but he's blessed with it. And the background he has, we're not going to talk about like spoilers later down the road, but it really presents itself knowing that some of that back history, who he was, what he was, and who his parents are, because we really don't know until like really later in Black Clover for who he
Yeah, well,
is.
don't spoil too much. Like, don't go too
No.
far.
But I feel like it has an interesting dynamic adding to the character. And with spirit magic, it's basically tenfold with the attacks he can do, and also you know reaching Saint Sage, which is 100% resonance with self. Like Spirit's Breath, Spirit Dive, Spirit Storm. Spirit of Zemforth. Has different stages. I really like. He gets like a the Crown esque vibe when he's in that form. What do you think?
Crown S5?
Yeah, he's like he's like
Because all
when
I'm
he's
thinking about is the show, The Literal Crown. But
you
I'm
know
like,
you
I
know
don't think
he's
you're
in the
talking about the
spirit form,
British.
right? He's in the half crown on his head when he's in the spirit.
Oh,
Yeah, and he's
that's
all
just like,
green.
yeah, to me, that's like when in any anime, and in any anime when they like go into that half conscious mode, um, and like stuff is about to go down. Like
Yeah.
that's when I would. That's if I was a villain, I would like clock out, go home. You don't get paid enough for this. I don't think you get paid at all to be a villain and go against these people. This is ridiculous. But I think he looks really cool.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
and I don't know. I love character like
Hmm.
transformation in other forms. And you do get them in Black Clover, but I think
Yeah.
Yuno's is pretty. His just looks cool. I
Oh
mean, who
yeah.
doesn't want to have
It
crown?
looks natural. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's not too exaggerated. It's not Dragon Ball Z level,
Yeah,
guys.
it's too simple. It's simple enough that it gets the message across, but also conveys who he is and what he does.
Yeah,
And
it's still the same character.
yeah,
He's not going to transform into a completely different being.
yeah, Super Saiyan mode going on. Oh my! I mean, yeah. Speaking of transformations, how about Kaguya for example? He has many transformations from Inuyasha.
Well, Kaguya, for those who don't know, she is a demon in Inuyasha, one of the older animes from around the 90s. It's from the 90s? I think it's from the 90s. I don't think it's from the 80s.
Yeah,
But
that's from the
Inuyasha,
early '90s to the 2000s.
I was gonna say, I was like, I don't think Inuyasha goes that far back. But it basically follows the story of a modern day
Mm,
girl who is the same reincarnation of a spiritual priestess from feudal Japan. There's demons. There's of course Inuyasha and his brothers and all of that.
yep.
And then there is the sacred jewels that
Yep.
are spread across the land that make people stronger, and everyone is fighting to get them. And a lot of them are going to Naraku, who is Inuyasha's arch nemesis, for lack of better terms. Um, but
Oh my
Kagura
gosh.
but yeah, Kagura, she's Naraku's second incarnation, a
Yeah.
wind sorceress. She carries around this iconic large fan, like a giant
Yep.
collapsible fan. And she has like these long pearl earrings, feathers in her ear, striking like kind of like violet purplish eyes. Uh and she's a bit. She's a lot. Like when you're first introduced to her, You're like, you have a lot of anger in you, man. Like, we just got here because you're introduced to her in like
Yeah.
volume 1 or 2 of Inuyasha, and she's just messing people up. She is totally cool with killing people,
Oh yeah.
100%, no hesitation. And the whole time you're watching, you're just like, maybe you should calm down. Maybe a nap.
Yeah.
Maybe think about this. No man is worth this. But I do love her because
Yeah.
when you're introduced to her, um, and she's going through her fighting, you aren't. I would say like when you're first introduced to her, you're not introduced to her for long. It's
Oh
like
yeah.
not for a long period when you first
Yeah.
find her. Um, but I think she is kind of like one of those iconic female characters. She's incredibly strong. She's highly determined in what she does.
Yeah.
And her literal nickname is like Kagura the Wind Sorceress. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
As Leah might be old ramping Kaguya, but that's a different story.
She's also the goddess of eternal night. That's what the name means. And Kaguya in Japanese lore is associated with the moon and the night. So it really fits her title to be this villainous type. Like even during the night, eternal night really fits her in that character. And she is 1,000 years old. She's I don't know how she as a demon in Naraku's form is just really bizarre. But you had to really watch the show to see what Naraku is, just because.
He's freaking gross. Like
Yeah,
he's beautiful from like the waist up, and then
yeah,
I don't know. Like my
yeah,
young brain was like, that was enough. Like in
yeah.
the shadows.
He's the he's
Back
the
you
op-
go.
he's the person that's similar to Inuyasha, but has a totally different background. When Inuyasha actually has maybe like a better background, I would say. I mean, he still has some trauma, but like
The
I
thing
don't know.
is
No,
that they set it up as if Naraku and Inuyasha are kind of like
polar
two
opposite.
sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Their ambitions and kind of like the main motivations they have are similar, but
Yeah.
of course they're doing it for completely different
Oh yeah.
means. And processes. And Naraku, what he does is he gives a sacred jewel piece to demons or
Yeah.
dying humans. He allows corruption to come into the hearts of those he comes across, promises them power, promises them gold and glory or whatever the heck their heart desires. And
Oh yeah.
he gives them these jewels to basically be his goons. And
Oh yeah.
Kagura is no different. When you're introduced to her, she knows what she needs to do, but she also doesn't have her memory. Um, when we were introduced to her,
Yeah.
she has her memory wiped, and so a lot of her motivations you realize
Mm.
aren't actually her own, and kind of like an empty identity, like a
Yeah.
blank slate. But like her fighting style, I think is like it's very ladylike in the way that
Yeah.
she fights.
Oh
It's
yeah.
very, very ladylike. Like her fanning, like she'll fan herself
Yeah.
and then swipe her giant fan towards her enemies, and it looks like claw marks coming out to
Yeah.
like cut through them. It's really cool.
And she has 3 forms of attack: power of the mirror of stillness, momentum reversal, and the budding sphere. And these are like different like spells involved with it because of the celestial robe and the mirror of life. So she also has that power associated with it as well. So when you
Yeah.
think of the power of the mirror of stillness, what image do you get from that? Power of the mirror of stillness. That's a long phrase.
What does that even do? Because I'm trying to remember what that does. What do you, like literally my head went, wait, what? Because I remember her doing reanimation
Yeah.
and in her long range
Yeah.
attacks. What
Hmm.
is what does the mirror do?
She uses the power of the celestial robe. She creates a pentagram that arrests the passage of time within its perimeter. 2 variations using against Kana and Kaguya. In this variation, she begins chanting the spell throws from her wrist, and then a beam of pink light generates a pentagram edge by edge, and then anything touched by this is permanently frozen in time.
Mm.
Movement is stopped, so it's like it's really
Yeah, no, that's
NOS.
terrifying. That's a
you
terrifying thing to go up against because it's like first off, she's like Kaguya. She is. You know how there's some of those anime characters that are
yeah,
very calm when they're like beating the ever loving daylights out of somebody, or
yeah,
they're like, or people are dying around them. They're like the calm, like shaman type.
yeah.
She's not that type. I don't want to be mocked as I'm frozen and then about to die. I would be very upset. I would be
I
very,
mean,
very upset.
if you're frozen, you have no awareness of time, so you won't know anything. How can you be
Yeah, no,
upset when you're not even aware what's going on?
yeah, no, she's petty. She would kill me still. Because also I would be mad as all get out because I would be saying some slick commentary even if I knew I was gonna die.
Oh
Like
yeah.
if I'm dying, I'm gonna address your behavior because this is out of place. It's inappropriate.
We also have the
Um
momentum reversal. She can block an incoming object, chant a spell, and while that projectile is, is enveloped in the blue flames, it's sent registering back into the opponent. So it's basically like full counter, except it sends it back at full force back at you. What do you think of reflect type
is
attacks?
it full counter at full force too? Because that's what I was
Yes.
thinking.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. So it has like a
Um
similar mentality behind it as well.
yeah. Whenever it comes to reflection attacks or like redirection ones, I think it's
Yeah.
always interesting to see how the person who cast it takes it. Like it's like that saying where it's like if you can't dish it,
Yeah. You
if you
can't
can't take
take
it,
it.
don't dish it or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when she does it, the whole time you're sitting there and you're like, I mean, it looked like that would have messed her up. What's it gonna do to the main character or to the person she's going against? And if someone gets really hurt by their own attack, I can never know if I think that they're strong or if I'm embarrassed for them.
I mean,
I'm
yeah,
like,
the
hmm,
the
this
power of
is
a
this is
flat.
your attack. Yeah, I'm like, this is your thing.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, even if they're hit with their own attack, their attacks are on caliber to do damage. So of course they'll do damage to the person casting it. So I don't know. I think that philosophy is like, well, if you hit with your own attack and you put everything in it, it should do similar damage to you as you would do to them.
Yeah, but it's still the anime equivalent of stop hitting
Oh
yourself.
my.
Stop hitting yourself. Like that's
Oh my
exactly what it
god.
sounds like to me. And I'm just like, how embarrassing.
So what? You just have the power of the mind. Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself. You just keep having
Hey,
that
I'm
in the
not
back of
saying
your head.
that I know, I'm not saying there's a full counter to a full
Okay.
counter. I'm just saying it's embarrassing.
Mm.
And that's okay. We can admit
Oh,
that and still say that it's unfortunate.
maybe
Like,
I should mind control you and keep hitting yourself to the phone.
well, that's just violence on coworkers. I need to speak to HR. If this is the case, this is a hostile work environment. I know you felt so strongly for wind users.
We also have the budding spear, which is another signature attack. As a standard attack, lifting sword above her head, chant spell, supposed to generate a bright light, orange energy forms, and both of these attacks were thwarted yada yada, led to the body destruction. So yeah, energy sphere more complicated than the case. I don't know. What do you think of a giant ball of energy coming at you?
I mean, that's kind of like OG anime. So,
Yeah, the giant Rasengan or Satsuma Dragon Ball with ah ha ha or what
yeah, like
say? Oh
that.
my!
That's kind of honestly, that would be the first thing that I would expect in a fight. I would expect them to one somehow teleport behind me and then do that chuckle where they don't move their lips. They just kind of
Oh
smirk. And then I
well,
would also expect them to shoot me with a giant
yeah.
blast of energy.
Well, okay. Funny that you say teleport. One of the other powers that she has is teleportation. So
She can teleport at will and be behind you and use that attack, just like you said. Isn't that funny?
Well, it's not like she teleports in
Yeah,
the way that you would think. Because
yeah,
she also like her representation is flowers, like flowers, feathers. Because she has two feathers
yeah,
in her hair when she fights, and so she uses that to spy on people and also like follow behind them and track them. So it's not the same way like Naraku can kind of just pop up and go wherever he wants and like phase into the darkness like a creeper. But
yeah.
she does have like a like I guess like a stamped way of getting around. So if you notice it, you can
Oh
probably
yeah.
do something about it.
Well, don't forget, she's also has immortality as well. She absorbed the celestial maiden.
No, she has immortality like Davy Jones has immortality. It's not the same. It's like there's immortality, and then there's like if your heart is like put inside your
Mm.
body or something like that, then
Okay.
oh well.
Okay,
Like
so when she absorbed through the power of absorption, when she absorbed the celestial maiden, her body is apparently able to reassemble itself after sustaining any injury. However, when it's in her possession, this ability is instantaneous, close to reborn abilities like Noaku. So, she's very hard to kill. And she was only done in a way to basically seal her away, in the wind tunnel. Kind of funny. The rock, like that was the only way to actually, because Miraku, the person the wielder that has the wind tunnel, was able to do in by using that ability, and taking the magical rope away from her to make it so that she was absorbed and not come out. That's just terrifying to me. What do you think?
hey, did she get absorbed by Muraku? I don't think so. She got killed by Naraku.
Yeah, Maraku.
There's Muraku who has wind
Yeah,
tunnel, and then there's the main baddie Naraku.
yeah,
Naraku killed her, like he gave her back
yeah,
her heart, and then said "gotcha" and like took her out. But
yeah.
Muraku's wind tunnel, I think he was trying to suck her in, and then somehow like she escaped or like got free. I can't remember her getting sucked in because once you get sucked into his wind tunnel, there's
Yeah,
like
it was like
no way out.
Katsuno. He got
Yeah, he
he
has the
actually
worst ability.
yeah.
Out of all the wind users, he is the worst one.
Yeah. Because they also poisons him too if he took some stuff like poison and all that stuff.
Yeah, if he absorbs like poison and if he has it out for too long, if he gets
Yeah.
tired. Like guys, I did put him up to be on the list, but didn't like fairly enough. Fairly enough. Our host was like, I mean, he really only has his hand. And it's not even
Yeah.
both hands. It's one hand with like a really crappy scarf on it. Like I'm like, yeah, that's fair. Pretty unimpressive when you think about it. What's your superpower? I mean, I can clean trash like a vacuum with one hand, but
Exactly. My hand will suck you away. Be a whale.
oh god, oh no.
I mean, at least she has like nature manipulation. She has absorbing like her counterpart Naraku. You know, she has the hand barrier, so she actually has versatility when it comes to close combat to defend herself. I don't know. I don't think the nature aspect with the vines and different aspects of that also goes into what mirror power is. I don't know. I think that I think of the mirror, I think of the vine, so the nature manipulation kind of fits. And the wind is more. I think wind to me is the most natural element associated with Mother Nature. What do you think?
No, I'd probably say Earth if I'm thinking about like when you say
Yeah,
natural or nature, I'm gonna think Earth first, and then And then the other elements kind of fall as second place behind
Okay,
it.
yeah. You
Yeah.
think about the mountains, the trenches,
Yeah.
the volcanoes. Yeah, you think of the
Like the first
geographical.
things that pop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
like the geographical
geographical.
thing.
Yeah, things you can just point on a map. Like look at that fault line, or look at that earthquake over there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's still kind of cool that she has a nature manipulation, but also the main powers that she has is the wind, because unlike Leah, she's not the free as the wind, but you can move and have the teleport to go with it as well.
She shouldn't just teleport. Like she can use
Yeah,
she has also the ability to manipulate like the object that she has on her
yeah.
person. So like the flowers, like again with the flowers, the
Oh,
feathers in her hair, the feathers in her hair. She has the ability to actually make them larger or smaller, so
yeah,
she can actually ride them on the wind gust that she creates
yeah,
to follow behind her enemy or to like escape. So she has like she really. I think when it came to her, when you're introduced to her and as the story goes on, a lot of people love Kaguya
yeah,
because she came as a very strong like first
yeah,
opponent outside of Naraku. So it's like your very first opponent is this really strong wind user, who unfortunately like can't remember her past, but that doesn't slow her down in trying to murder you. So
yeah.
I think in this, and it also it's like it's kind of like whimsical because she's on a giant feather, she's
Oh
floating
yeah.
through the air, but she's also destroying everything
Oh,
around you trying to hit
oh
you.
yeah.
So
How about her? She can also has the ability to sense the most innermost desires of people she encounters. She's she's like Lucifer, not bring out your most inner desire, but she knows what that is, so she can use that to her advantage in the doing her bidding. So having clairvoyance in that case with the demon background is very symbiotic of that character, because she just finds what you want and then you do her
mhm.
bidding for her. So it just goes more into her dramatic evil side of her. Like,
Yeah, and I mean she can also do reincarnation
oh yeah,
as well with her attack abilities. So she has like she has so many differing abilities that you're introduced to that I think
oh yeah.
it's also just like a great way to get an idea of what type of show you're watching with Inuyasha.
Mm.
When you're like, oh, we can raise the dead, regenerate, teleport, trace people, know their inner desires. Anything can happen in this world. So I think she's a fantastic win user, but I think she's just also a fantastic like first villain.
Oh yeah. Because with Inuyasha, he has a lot to go up with, and the that he uses really has to be like mastered to deal with serious people. So I really feel like that is good in itself.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So I don't know. I think I don't know. Final thoughts about her. I think not only is she whimsical, but she has that slow. Like she is literally thinking 5 steps ahead of you. And if you're not careful, she's gonna get someone else to do her bidding for her, and then you get involved in them, and then you find out later that she's also involved with this other god that's trying to kill you as well. So it,
Hmm.
they do that a lot. They get someone else to do their bidding, and they don't have to be involved like directly, but they're still involved behind the scenes. Like most villains are, they get someone else to do the bidding.
That's what it takes to be the boss.
I don't know. So, Aquila Yuna. Let's talk about her for a second. She's from
Oh,
yeah. She
from
okay. She's from
from
Saint Seiya
Seiya.
Omega. So anyone that doesn't, oh, Saint Seiya has a lot of spin-offs. We
Yeah.
we want to say about Saint Seiya for a second.
I mean, like I'm watching the original Saint Seiya
Yeah.
that's on Netflix. It goes off on Netflix, I think on like the 20th or something. So I've
Yeah.
been powering through. And when I first started watching it, I was told that the first like season is the slow season. So for those of you that don't know, and also that was a lie, but for those of you that don't know, Saint Seiya is basically takes place on Earth, but incorporates cosmo powers with
Yep.
I guess you could call them like gladiator Power Rangers is what
Yeah.
I normally go with. They
Gladiator.
are Seiya warriors. Yeah,
Oh,
Seiya warriors are these fighting individuals who are normally orphans or unwanted kids that are raised in different countries, undergoing extraneous training
yeah.
and battle techniques and learning all of that in order to receive cloths, which aren't cloths. They're giant blocks of like brick or cement or whatever. Like they're
Yeah.
rocks. They're giant. They're not cloth. I don't know why they call them that, but it transforms into armor. They fight all types of whimsical
Yeah.
like Cosmo bad guys.
Yep.
And in one version of it, there is female Saiyas, and Aquila Yuna is actually one of them.
Yep.
She she has. I'm gonna be honest. Like out of all ones that I've seen in costumes, hers is actually like, oh, that's practical for anime. Like this one makes
Yeah.
sense for anime. There's some of them that you're like, you look like a watermelon came to life. Like, what are you doing? Like, I guess
Yeah.
they ran out of. They were just like, I don't know, make that one a blueberry pumpkin. I'm like, oh
Yeah. I think with her costume for a second is that, she has like the markings of with the wind, but also like the green going up, the
yeah, yeah. It has a
red
very
colors.
tranquil look to it.
I don't know, it's very synergizing with the element of wind. It really tells that she might be using wind. Like most characters,
Hmm.
when you look at them, you not necessarily gauge what power they use by the appearance. With her, I get that feeling more than others. Like
Yeah,
the
her
clear,
outfit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy, she's nationality of Russian. That's funny. The blue eye color, but she's also affiliated with Athena, so that's where she comes from. But her constellation is Aquila constellation, which uses the element of wind. She's very independent,
Hmm.
very loving. She does not care about the traditions of female saints, so she refuses to wear a mask. She's smart, acute, allows her to see the unknown mysteries of the cosmos. She has the tendency to fight with Kaguya. Kaguya. Yeah. She's also very strong, defeated Kaga the first time they met. Maria, to her, I don't know. I really get that she's just very peaceful, but also very outspoken about herself.
I mean, she's like in my personal opinion, she's kind of like the OG type
Yeah,
of Seiya warriors that we would say literally like Seiya. She's very
yeah,
independent. She doesn't believe in traditions. In Saint Seiya, there is when not even just the Seiya
mhm,
warriors. Most of the Seiya warriors don't wear masks, but for a lot of the others who are fighting to get the cloth, or in these organizations, a lot of them wear masks. And from the people that Yuna is from, all the females also wear masks. They never take them off,
yeah,
which is actually like a funny thing that you see in the beginning of Saint Seiya, the original. Like he cuts off someone's
yeah.
mask. But it's well known that you're supposed to have it on. It's like symbolism and pride and all of
Oh
that in
yeah,
tradition. And she's just not into that. And I get that. Like I'm
oh
totally
yeah.
okay with that.
And that tradition type thing, wearing a mask, reminds me of like the Secadors from Mexico. Their pride and tradition is wrestling, and the mask is part of that character that they portray as Caciquadors. And
The
doing the
luchadors?
fight, yeah, the luchadors.
You said expected. You said something with an E, and I was like, that is not
No,
it.
I'm thinking of a Yu-Gi-Oh card. It's called Kisiki Door or something. And it pops a
I
card.
was like, oh no, the complaints are piling in. But yes, it's very
Yeah.
much so like that, where the mask doesn't come off; it is a part of your identity. And she
Sekido,
doesn't
yeah.
care any. Yeah.
I have Yu-Gi-Oh in the mind, so don't mind me.
What is a luchador? And I was like, what the heck is it? A squeak door? Are you talking about a horse? Like equestrian? What are you saying?
I don't know. Don't mind me.
Oh my
But,
goodness.
like a Princess Marion, she's able to read into the stars. She has the Blast Typhoon, but she spins her body, accumulating wind, and then shoots a small twister at the enemy. It's Typhoon. That is a fairly direct impact type attack. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, all of the Saint Seiya attacks are
Oh yeah,
actually they're pretty intense. And when it comes to, especially like,
yeah,
a lot of them do use martial arts in their
yeah.
fighting technique, but when it comes to elemental stuff, I think it looks a lot cooler with
Hmm.
the added effects. And
Yeah.
so in these attacks, like one thing about Saint Seiya, they gonna kill somebody. Like they don't care. They
Oh
are
yeah.
always ready to put you in the grave. So I like her attacks because I don't know, it has like the magical
Oh
girl
yeah.
vibe to it, but it
Yeah.
also is absolutely like obliterating in their attacks. So from the typhoon, divine tornado, like her shining blast, she also of course has a tornado. These are kind of like common things
Oh
that you
yeah.
see. And just like she's also an orphan.
Yeah.
Like they were like, can't
Here's
have
my favorite.
families if you got
Here's
wind
my favorite.
ability.
Aquila spinning predation. A giant leap towards the unit's head, throwing itself at high speed while creating strong wind currents surrounds it. A comet fast approaching towards the target. What do you think of spinning predation when you hear that?
Spinning predation, I don't know. It sounds like something you would be charged with in like in the deep country, like you being charged with spinning predation, boy. It's like I don't. What is that? What did I do? And it's like you
you,
spun around in a bathhouse and freak people out. I don't know,
you
but
were spinning
in
you were doing so many donuts, you created a bunch of dust around you. So you get predicated on the fact that you were being targeted. I don't know.
it's like naturally there's always going to be like wild names for attacks, but this one I'm just like okay, and it has like her name in it too, which makes it funny. Like it's like giving yourself your own nickname. Like she named her own attack and she's like
Oh yeah.
Aquila spitting predation, and I'm like, no one decided to tell her that that sounds weak. Like I don't even know what that is, and most of the time it's a kick. I want to make that very clear. Like a lot of times she's kicking someone in the face, but it involves this title, and it's just like I'd rather you just punch me in the face, like
Yeah.
way
Or
more than
Aquila
you
dynamic spinning round kick. I don't know.
like
Oh my
anything would
gosh.
be better than that. But
It's really
um
predation, and predation is anything that's like coming at you as prey. So I don't know how she's a predator coming at you full force in a spinning motion. I don't know. A wind top tunnel going around, and it's just a big
I
projectile. Like
couldn't tell
what?
you.
No, that
Could
doesn't
not
make
tell
any
you.
sense. I mean, shining blast that makes sense. I don't know what spinning predation, tornado storm, a killer fly tornado, an improved version of divine tornado, slide down,
Mm-hmm.
expanded legs, create powerful tornado, launch towards the opponent. I don't know. It just uh, it's really
You
interesting
don't have to
too.
like everything about it, but she's
No,
still a
you
great
don't.
character. She's incredibly strong.
Yeah,
Like all the Seiya Saints are incredibly strong. That's one thing they're known for.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, that name's pretty weak. But we don't judge here on MC Anime. We just say it and then we
yeah.
say we don't judge.
And even though she doesn't wear a mask, they never call out on it, even treat it with nothing more than a question. So, like, if you go back, she's known as in the other saints not to wear a mask, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
question her ability of not wearing it because She's just fierce in battle and has that mentality to be fierce just by herself. So she doesn't need the mask. She
No,
represents what the mask can do without it already.
it's sounding suspiciously like a Jim Carrey movie.
What do you mean a Jim Carrey
You
movie?
ever seen The Mask?
A Jim Carrey.
You've never seen The Mask? We're gonna move on. We're moving on. We're moving on to the last one. We're
All
not
right.
even. um, and so last up on the list, um, from all of our win users. This one,
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like our last one. I remember him distinctly from childhood,
Yeah.
watching him on TV, and I was like, he's a fun guy. And
Oh
that's
yeah.
Jin from Yu Hakusho. He has such a like childlike charm to him,
Oh
even
yeah.
though he very much so was trying to murder our main character, like again. Like but I don't know. I like him. I like
Yeah.
his ability. He's kind of like if you gave Aang hair
Yeah.
and took away some of his like moral blockers, like you there you go.
Oh
He's
yeah.
great though.
He's also presented as a
Tornado
series.
wrist.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's presented in the series in Yu Yu Hakusho as a yokai. If anyone that doesn't know what a yokai is, it's the Japanese term for demon.
Mhm.
And even though he is affiliated with the demon species, his occupation is actually formerly a shinobi, which is so weird, actually, to me. What do you like? He's a shinobi, but he's also a demon shinobi.
I mean,
Demon
he's a
shinobi.
warrior.
Oh
Like
yeah,
and okay, so for those who don't know, Inuyasha is a old school 90s anime and manga that basically focus around the story of Yusuke Urameshi, who is essentially like a punk rebel delinquent in his high school. He constantly gets in fights, is never in class, and one day ends up dying
yeah.
in a freak accident to save a kid who was like playing with a ball in the middle of the street or like chasing it. I don't know, something the kid was doing where I was like, birth control. So anyway, he dies, he goes to the spirit world, and he essentially finds out that demons and heaven and hell, all of that's real. And there's also a
Yeah.
tournament going on where he gets a band of other fighters with supernatural abilities. He has his own spiritual abilities as well, and you kind of
Yep.
see his journey as a fighter through the what was the tournament called? Is
You
it
mean Dark
World
Tournament
Tournament?
Saga? It's called
What?
Dark Tournament. Jin first
There we
appeared in
go,
the
Dark
Dark
Tournament.
Tournament Saga.
I was like,
So
what was the name of the tournament? Because it's not an impressive name for a tournament, guys. It's like they
Dark
were like
Tournaments.
tournament time.
Yeah.
Very dark. Ooh, dark tournament. So yeah, so he
Yeah.
he fights in a dark tournament and he does fight against Jin, who is on one of the
Yep.
teams that's on these like 101 fights. And yeah, Jin is a wind user who has a very like bubbly, kind of fun, lackadaisical behavior, like attitude when it comes to
Oh
fighting. Like
yeah.
he's having a good time. And he loves people who are really strong because he wants to also prove that he is the strongest. We've all
And
heard and
also,
seen that before.
he has a small horn on the top of his head. He is like an elf, and or demon ears for that matter. But you have to do the Christmas time for the elves. But also red hair, like slap in the face, red as red can be, red as an apple. And he has that type of personality that you get like airhead kind of thing, but he's also more go with the flow as well. So I really like his personality. I mean, I find him more necessarily evil, but like that
Oh,
mentality
he's
that
not.
yeah,
Yeah, he's not evil. There's other demons that Yusuke fights, even prior to Jin, who you can definitely
yeah,
say are like they have evil intentions. But
yeah,
in the dark tournament, um, everyone's fighting to win. Like
Yeah,
there are of course like the evil organization people who are fighting.
yeah.
But Jin
Jin's just very
himself,
cheerful and upbeat personality that
yeah.
speaks with a strong Irish accent and English dub.
I
Oh
don't know
my god!
why they gave him red hair and an Irish accent, but it sounds racist. I don't know what type of racism, but it sounds racist, and I'm just gonna say it. I feel
It
like
sounds like a stereotype. It's like, yeah, they only have to be red hair because of the Irish background. Have the accent to go with it. Oh my gosh. It's funny to see how he does it because he's really well known, and even with the fight with Yusuke, he takes the fight, seems impossible to defeat while in the air. However, Yusuke fires the fire gun and be in the air, attacks like a travel through the air, he's able to deflect it. So it's really interesting how Yusuke fights him in the Dark Tournament, but also how much of an opponent that was hard to defeat for Yusuke of Jin for himself. Because he's actually really hard to defeat.
well, it's
Aerokinetic
hard to
flight.
fight. Yeah, because he blasts him into the air. He can also fly above him. And the
Yeah.
rules for the tournament was like, any rules that you've seen, like if you've watched like
Mhm.
My Hero Academia when they have like their little school tournament, as long as you don't go outside of the ring, you can go up as high as you want. And it's totally fine.
Oh
So he
yeah.
would fly up above so he could dodge Yusuke's like signature attack. Um, and he was having a ball while
Oh
he was
yeah.
doing all of this.
Signature attacks like Tornado Fist and Double Tornado Fist. So he's just launching himself from the air to you to the ground. Like that's one of the only ways that he has like the attack, wind barrier. Ooh, Tornado Fist Explosion. I really like the graphics on that one. Looks like the tornado itself is going to explode on you and have like the giant blue energy to go with it. Genetic tornado from his fist to attack electrical opponent to this technique as seen crackling electricity around the tornado. High explosive due to the wind and lightning combined. What do you think of tornado fist explosion?
I like all of his attacks. Like I watched this when it was coming on late
Yeah.
night, like for like Adult Swim or Toonami or whatever, and I thought all of his attacks, I don't know why, but I thought they were kind of fun and like kind of funny because no matter how hard Yusuke was trying, he was getting like just the life beat out of him. And that is something that you do see when you watch the show. Like Yusuke does
Yeah.
not just come out on top. He doesn't just like believe it and he's good to go.
Oh my
So
gosh.
so like when I was watching it, I was having fun. Like I was having a great time. I was like, this is actually kind of funny. Huh,
Oh yeah.
he's not doing too well. Yeah.
Hopefully you're not watching the English dub with the Irish accent. But
That was the only one that was on. So that's the one I came to know, and I don't feel bad about it.
yeah, and you were representing stereotypes if you have the Irish accent with the red hair.
Yeah. It was a
Oh my
good time.
gosh. It's like he's also taking with the wind as well. Like, the wind barrier used around the former tornado to protect him from the spirit gun or any other attack. Never officially named, but, Jin uses the technique to blast. Teleportation. Why does he have teleportation? It seems really weird that he used against Sayu Isco.
He uses what now?
Teleportation. He used it in the fight with versus Sake Tisu.
I don't remember him teleporting.
He used it in the
Maybe he
fight.
moved really fast? I don't know. Huh,
There's an
okay.
upper S class demon, with the fight. I don't know.
I don't know. I
King
mean, I
Saga.
believe you. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just don't remember him teleporting. I know others
yeah,
had the ability to, or they had like a fog or something that
yeah,
they could use to mess people up. But it doesn't make him any
yeah.
less cool, doesn't make him any less Irish.
Oh yeah, the luck of the Irish with the gold at the end of the rainbow.
Wow. You
What?
sounded like Count Dracula
What
more
do
than
you
you
mean?
sounded Irish.
Count Dracula.
With the
I
gold.
mean, and you can so okay. And well, I guess if I'm Count Dracula, I would fit in right into Yu Hakusho because they're all demons. So I guess I can go with the vampire background. What do you think?
I think you would probably die really fast in Yu Hakusho.
Why?
Every
I can live
because
forever.
every character with a gimmicky like thing, like every character who had a gimmicky like presentation, they absolutely killed. Like they didn't, they just murked them up. They were there
Oh, no,
for
no, no,
like
no. I'll
certain
be on the
characters.
sidelines. I'll be watching
No,
the
it doesn't
fight
matter.
go on.
No, in Yu Hakusho, that's another thing. Like when they do attacks and it hits the audience,
Yeah.
like because it's a dark tournament, people know someone's gonna die. They just hope that it's other people so that way they can laugh at them and be like, "Ha ha, you got hit with a boulder," and it's like anyone can
Ah,
get it in the dark tournament.
I'll just fly so I don't get hit.
Wow, I'm glad you
Wait.
figured this out. I'm glad. I'm glad we came full circle. And the real reason why we did this episode was for Mason to find where he could sit in the Yu Yu Hakusho universe.
And then oh my god.
Just a man bat in the air without a care in the
Exactly.
world.
And you won't see me going by because I'm just flying at a little small speck. Ha! Oh my
My
god.
God.
Hey,
Oh
at
my
least you
goodness.
have fun.
It's good. It's good.
And
I'll admit that.
my friend will be Jin. And we just go on Tornado Alley and have all the fun we want. Fit right in face.
I don't
But
believe you believe that.
I
But
mean, I can believe that. You don't have to.
mm-mm.
But that pretty much wraps up this episode about wind users. I think we not only hit the nail on the coffin, but we also let let the air surround us, fill us with the great wisdom of what it is to be tranquility.
Really.
Yes,
He's right, guys.
we
Yeah.
grasped the air and just took it all in.
We're floating on cloud nine with this topic, guys.
Oh my god.
Put your hands up in the air and
Like just
wave
don't
them.
care.
You just don't care.
Oh
Do
my
it for
gosh.
Matt Dracula. Do it for your host.
Oh boy. Oh my gosh. You just connected back to that. Oh my.
Never giving it up. All right.
Oh
And for me, I think wind users, I think they're pretty cool. I will say I don't think they have the most impressive abilities.
yeah.
If if we're going dark series with it, like I watched enough Legend of Korra to believe that if we can blood bend, we could probably suck the air out of someone's lungs and just do a TKO that way.
Yeah.
But the users we had on this list, half of them, you know, had
Well,
a like
well
orphan
just imagine
backgrounds.
okay, just imagine
Let's
the
hear it.
sub elements like controlling different elements like this periodic table. Like controlling oxygen at will. Think of that sub element of wind. That'd be kind of crazy.
That would be
You
really
think?
cool, but they never do that because it's too powerful. That's the only thing. Like it would end so many fights before they began. Because if you can't
Oh,
breathe, you can't
oh
do
yeah.
nothing.
There's actually an anime that actually people have the power to control the elements on the periodic table. So, but that that's Central and Quasar, and that one's a little borderline. But it is what it is. But
Decent.
I hope you guys take what not only what Wen represents, but the simple nature of how air is moving, and it can be powerful. Given a desert, there's just sand and sandstorm be around you, and
over time, it takes thousands of years to have wind to weather the land. So it does have an effect. It's just very prolonged, and how it does it's very slow. So just know that. But anyway, thank you for this episode. We're signing off, and so is Leah. She's going to be going with the wind
You
and
guys.
disappearing in a tornado with me. So who knows?
Let's
Bye,
I have
guys.
nothing to say to that. All right. Bye, you guys. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.
All right.